So I suppose we should do an intro. YGMV, a podcast about pen and paper RPGs. Today we're talking about 13th Age by Pelgrane Press. I'm Bucks. That's Rat. Rat, say hello.
Hi, I'm Rat.
Madrona, you're here too.
Hi, I'm Madrona.
Okay, let's talk about 13th Age by Pelgrane Press.
It's very official. I like it a lot.
Yeah, this is very official.
I only have one
very
setting,
good.
man. I only have the fucking fucking Audible audiobook reader voice when it comes to that kind
Yeah, I'd listen to it. If you were an audiobook, what would you be reading?
Welcome to the introduction.
Today I'd be reading 13th Page, but in general, if I were an audiobook, I would probably read literally nothing but the complete works of Lenin. But let's just stick to 13th Age today.
Yes, that'll be episode 2 where we dissect the complete works of Lenin as an RPG.
All right, that'll be episode 2 where we do Das Kapital, the RPG.
We have to go ahead and freaking Das Kapital, the RPG, imperialism, the highest.
All right. So we went from 0 to Marx in 30 seconds. Let's just do the fucking book.
All right, let's get into it.
So it's basically D&D, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 4th edition, part 2.
It's like 4th edition, but if 4th edition cross-pollinated with Powered by the Apocalypse.
Okay.
Because it's got a whole lot of narrative control mechanisms. Specifically the icons, right? Because that's chapter 1. That's chapter 1, the icons.
Drops right into it.
They put the narrative control stuff right up front because they want you to know that this is a narrative game and not necessarily a tactical war game. Thank God. So you have 13 icons, and they all represent different factions in the setting.
Wait, is that why it's called 13th Age? God.
Shut up.
I think we just dissected it. I think we cracked the code. Good job, guys. We did it. We got to the end of it. 13th Age.
Sick.
It being more of a narrative that makes it a little bit different than RPGs of its time, doesn't it?
No, this is an RPG of post-narrative era.
Yeah, it came out in 2000 fucking 8, 10. When did it come out?
This is a lot newer than I thought it was.
If you were expecting me to have 2013, damn, okay.
Yeah, this is a newbie RPG.
But yeah, if you were expecting me to have any in-depth knowledge of the production of RPGs, then no. I'm sorry, I'm an idiot.
I'm closer to that. I know things about this stupid stuff.
Yeah, Madrona went to school in the place where this happens.
Oh.
However, the icons are a bunch of generic ass fantasy tropes.
Yeah, well, I like the generic fantasy. Well, some of them.
You got the big magic boy. You got the freaking yellow dragon.
You do have a yellow dragon.
You got the angry fight boy. You got the druid, which is really offensive because there's no other druids in the actual book.
You got the great yellow dragon. That's all you really need.
I don't like yellow dragons.
Fuck, it's a yellow dragon.
Isn't
fuck is a yellow dragon?
It's made of gold or something.
Well, it is literally called the Great Goldworm.
There you go. I'm a big fan of the Dwarf King.
Yeah, anywho's, the way these factor into actual gameplay, right, is that you have as a player, okay, so the 13th Age assumes that you're some sort of adventure hero type to begin with. D&D kind of puts you on the same power skills like a goblin, basically, where any fight with a giant rat is going to bring you to within an inch of your life at level 1.
Hey, you're 2 goblins, they are 1/2 CR.
That's true. You are 2 goblins in a trench coat. But you know.
Hold up, I'm having an existential crisis. Give me a second. All right. All right,
no,
continue.
It's okay. Just let the lower goblin take over for a minute.
Okay, Jesus, take the wheel, I guess.
Jesus.
What's the name of the lower goblin?
We've got Brain.
You've got the boys.
You've got the boys. And they do things. I need more caffeine, you guys.
Good morning.
It's okay. You've got all of these these various icons, you get some kind of relation business with them, and they have some
that's
kind of
right,
influence in the big power of the setting.
Yes. You have some. All player characters are expected to be like some sort of like hero with like some sort of like connection to one of the big powers.
1, 2, 3 of the powers.
1 to 3 of those powers. You guys, I really need caffeine.
Get some caffeine.
All right, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get some caffeine.
We will continue this on. Yes, Scrib. So explain the icons a little bit while we're getting into it.
Well, we've got to go. You got basically you have the Archmage, who's a magic man. You got a worm who's goodness embodied. It's like the Eberron big dragon again, I guess, that saves the world from badness. You have the Crusader, which is evil fight guy who fights demons, but it's really bad. They seem to represent paladins here, and paladins also seem to be douchebags, so I guess it's leaning into post-ironic fantasy more than traditional D&D.
Paladins of douchebaggery, I feel it.
You've got the High Druid, who seems to be completely misused despite how much is talked about her, because basically nothing about the natural world in the book, even in the setting. You have Demon Lady, who I guess likes chaos. Honestly, I didn't really find much about her. You've got the Lord of Undead, who's the former king, who wants to rule everything. You've got the Dwarf King, who's exactly what every dwarf is. Orcs are just chaos, fight men, a representative of old gods of good.
To be honest, like, the genericness kind of serves it. Like,
yeah, I can see that.
Because it's like, it's just kind of it's weird because it has a lot of like specific flavor, but the specific flavor is so like tropey and like generic that you can make it whatever you want, really.
Yeah, the specific flavor causes me personally to want to die, but that's because that's how I work.
Me too, a little bit, but it's also just kind of like so generic that I can kind of get into it.
I can see that.
I have a strange like affection for like incredibly generic fantasy crap.
It's like Darkstalker 2, the RPG.
No, because all right, so like I grew up reading like fucking like Dragonlance and shit, right? So like sort of like generic like medieval like Renaissance Europe high fantasy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it brings me back to being like an 8-year-old reading fucking Dragonlance, but like I don't know, newer generic stuff really doesn't do that the same way for me.
I can see that. It feels like
things that have become generic since then is what I should say, not newer generic stuff.
It doesn't. The new generic stuff is so generic that it's like the day old.
Well, no, it's just like a different like stew of tropes.
Oh,
you get what I mean?
Oh, so it's not the stuff that you're familiar with. It's not the generic you want.
Yes, exactly. Get off my lawn. You heard me open my boomer juice a second ago.
You're right. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Here's a
drained mine already. God.
They just don't make generic fantasy like they used to. Okay.
I got to agree.
Back in my day. Give me a back in your day. Tell me why you like generic fantasy and what you hate about it. Back in your day, what?
Back in my day, paladins were paladins and rogues were rogues.
Okay. So, like, the thing that I like about, like, generic fantasy, right? And the thing that this thing seems to do pretty well, 13th Age seems to do pretty well, is that, like, monsters are bad, and people can also be bad, but are usually good or neutral, right?
So it's worst are monsters.
It's easy. I don't have to engage my brain too much, and there's like a bad guy over there that I can be like, oh fuck orcs, right? Nobody's gonna be like pro orc. Who in this day and age is pro orc, right?
Not on the 13th age, no.
Pure like who in this age is like pro random unaccountable violence, right? Fuck orcs. All orcs are bad.
Yes.
But yeah, you have like the orcs over there in that corner, and they're just like fucking shit up. And then you got like the evil undead. You've got like a full like 3-course meal of like evil creatures to fight, and you don't have to be worried. You don't have to be thinking about the fucking like like moral implications of like condemning an entire race to just being like evil. That's what I like about it, because I can turn my fucking brain off and I can just enjoy it like the fucking slop it is, like the goddamn pig I am.
This disgusting trough of generic fantasy.
Yes, exactly. Just like pile that EverQuest shit in my mouth, and I'll just fucking gulp it down.
Two cities, one evil and one not evil, but monsters
Oh
bad.
shit! Damn, monsters bad.
Yeah, monsters bad.
Fuck.
Just wait till you get to me talking about the dragon bad.
Oh fuck, dragon indeed bad.
Dragon always bad.
Dragon real bad.
Dragon real fucking bad. He do bad thing.
Good dragons are the bane of fantasy.
I mean,
They're
that's
bane.
probably gonna be. It's probably gonna be a downside for a lot of people for like 13th Age, is that like it is so simple, and it's like, I mean, it's so like loose that you could make it whatever you want. Really, it does have an alignment system, which again is a thing that a lot of people hate.
Mm-hmm.
I can see why, but like personally, I kind of it's comforting in a way.
I get kind of like that too. Like, I always want to go back to EverQuest 2 for that same reason. It's a game that I can just turn my brain off and play it. So I feel that good.
The only problem with turning your brain off is it also makes combat really difficult. Hey, we're not going to talk about D&D combat in depth too much, because it just gives me flashbacks. I snap my fingers and I'm in fucking Vietnam again. I can't deal with that.
I mean, I can quickly go over that. That's a few chapters forward from now, quite a few chapters. But honest to God, there's nothing particularly incredible about the way combat flows in 13th Age. It's pretty standard to 3rd edition or even 4th edition.
There were actually a couple of things in it that are not necessarily unique to it, but I like the implementation.
Yeah, there's a lot of severe simplifications, especially from the excess of 3rd edition.
It really seems to enjoy like high power, like somewhat longer like fantasy campaigns. So it like really rewards like a slow build up over a course of like 10, 13 sessions rather than like, one shots. It doesn't really like one shots.
No, this game feels like it's built for like an adventure, like an arc. You could make a module out of this.
Yeah, one of its suggested like way forward in the how to run things, one of the suggested campaign formats is just a 10-session game with 1 level per session, 2 fights per session. Very, very simple. Like, even in the campaign running, it has recommended tiers of what environments you should fight in. You should start out in fields and towns. By level 3, you should be mostly in dungeons and evil temples. By level 8, you're in evil temples and volcanoes and demon realms. At level 10, you should be directly, impacting against the big rulers of the planet. So it's very much aligned to try to. It feels like it's trying to be Beastmaster, like, or Conan, like the films. Those just trying to keep that 80s flair of you go forward with an adventure.
Yeah, you start out just like, oh no, a thief stole my money purse, and then like 3 days later, you're like grappling with God, and it's like, damn, how did I get here?
There's a banjo plucks in the background, record scratch. Now I'm Graknor the Black. 3 days ago, I was a farmer in the middle of a field. You might want to wonder where this happened. It all started Bandcamp 3108.
So like some of the mechanics that I enjoyed was like fighting in spirit. Even if you get like completely dunked in combat, your narrative control lets you be like, oh, I'm adding a bonus to Ragnar the Black's like attack rules because we bonded over like throwing axes into the heads of babies.
No, the real story.
During the historic raid of
it really wants to sell
the dwarf orphanage. The dwarfanage.
The dwarfanage, you might say.
Yes.
Yeah, and that bond of friendship we will never break, especially over the backs of small babies.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it really leans hard into that pulp RPG angle. Like even character creation. You've got your standard 4th edition-esque stuff, your general D&D, and then they focus way hard on 2 aspects.
Well, They focus on the icons and your one unique.
Yeah, and your one unique thing. So everybody has to have
I actually
one
like
unique
that. I actually like that. Everyone has to be a fucking like special like character, right?
Everyone
Nobody
has
can just be like I'm the regular like fucking farmer. You know, everybody's got to be like, you know, oh, I was mysteriously born with shock white hair, or like, you know, I came out of a zombie.
I am a good
That's
goat
in the
woman
book.
who likes boats.
Yes, very good, very like boat.
I have an uncontrollable urge to kiss every dwarf I see.
No, bad.
No, I don't like that one.
Damn it.
It would be valid, but I don't like it
Well, you don't have to like it. You're not my GM.
yet.
You've got a point.
Yeah, me personally, it kind of.
I'm never gonna run D&D. I don't like D&D. Full disclosure, I don't like D&D.
No, I'm not a huge fan of it either.
I have a huge crush on D&D, but I hate it deeply.
Yeah. Would you like the GM D&D?
I like
Oh
it
God,
a lot.
yeah, I would play. I would like GM a Forgotten Realms game any day. I'll do it.
I like it a lot, D&D. Except for like all of the gameplay parts of it. The settings are usually fine.
I like building characters, and I hate playing it.
Yeah, it's fun to theory craft characters, but like actually playing the game, because like a single combat turn can last like fucking an hour, and I'm like, dude, I don't have time for this.
Who has time these days for anything, really?
Everyone.
It is a pandemic. We do have a lot of time.
Quickly go over.
Ahead and date this podcast immediately. 9/26/2020.
Oh man, it's the freaking 26th. Holy crap.
Yep, happy September, everyone.
Otherwise, if we go through it, there's a lot of stuff that's pretty typical here. Races are relatively normal, exactly what you expect them to be. Elves are more like Midkemian, you know.
I hate to interrupt you.
What?
But I'm gonna keep doing it.
Do it.
All right. So like, this is mostly entirely unrelated to 13th Age, right? But the fact that people don't like that the different groups of creatures are called races in D&D, I can see why. I've been immersed in this culture for my entire adult life and part of my non-adult life, but I can see why someone who was new would not be like inured to it.
I find it endearing because it means that all sentient peoples are in some way the same species, even if they're totally different.
But that's like the problem, because they have stat differences, and it has bad implications if you're like not already inured to the whole like thing, you know?
I can see that.
So like, honestly, just call them species.
Yeah, like straight up separate them. Isn't it?
Just call them species, because orcs ain't humans.
Well, here they are.
They're not a race, because a race is a subset of another species.
Somehow here they are. Half orcs are not actually half orc. No, there are half elves.
They're literally separate species that are considered to be half elves, even though neither of them.
Yeah,
they're not. It's the product of two half elves. It's not an elf and a human.
Here, they're a half orc is just a human that has been mutated by magic to be better than humans, I guess. It's kind of
because they only have a bonus, don't they? Nobody has a penalty to anything.
Yeah, nobody has a penalty to anything, and they specify that they're not half orc, and despite orcs, doing the non-consensual sex, no babies come of it here. Elves also get specified this way, which is really weird.
That's another thing, right? Why does it gotta have rape in it? Why does it gotta be rape?
Yeah, it was really weird because, like, in D&D, it's like a lot of these are, consensual relationships.
Like,
some are not.
The thing is, like, even in D&D, it's like, why are there half orcs? Well, sometimes bad things happen and sometimes good things happen. But like in this, they specifically mention that there is rape, but they don't.
But these are not.
That's not what makes half orcs.
Yeah, that's not. It's really weird. It's like they're really scared of miscegenation in this, and it's strange.
That's fucking weird.
I like the idea of just someone saying,
Yo, don't worry. Thrall can crank his hog on an unwilling subject all he wants. and like a weird, like smooth baby won't come out of it. Okay.
It is not the great replacement of orc kind on humankind. It's gonna be all right. Don't need to get scared.
Oh my god! Thank you very much for the thrall cranking his hog.
Like it's just so fucking weird. All right, maybe it's just that I don't know, because like on one hand, I want to restrain myself because I know that like I'm always gonna find like the inclusion of like sex stuff in this to be like really like weird.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, that's just weird, right? I'm not.
Yeah, it seems weird because it's like, okay, when I first read it, I was like, oh, they don't have half orcs because they don't want to imply rape, and I was like, wait a second, why did they just state that there is that if they're trying to do that? What's going on?
Oh fuck! You know what I just realized
What
we
did
didn't
we do?
What?
We didn't say pronouns at the beginning of this.
Oh,
Okay.
crap!
Whatever. We're too deep into care now.
Too deep.
Too deep.
Take a guess.
Take a while. Yes.
We're all thems.
Hey, Thamer.
Get the fuck out! Get out of my house.
Take off,
Fucking hoser.
frickin' take off, hoser. Okay, before we leave races, it's only one thing I have to say is, what the fuck is a Dragonic?
Before we leave races.
Yeah, we gotta leave
Nice.
races forever. We're leaving race
I
behind.
agree.
There's gonna be
I
a
agree.
post-race world.
100%, I'm behind you.
On the other hand, like, before I go
Let's
ahead and
leave
get out of
race,
here,
Leave gender. Fuck it all.
I have to say I gotta be a little bit racist here, because what the fuck is a Dragonic? Like, it's not even Draconic. It's Dragonic.
Oh. Like
If there's anything
Dragonic.
like Dragonic.
Yeah, Dragonic. It sounds like an anthropomorphic queen here, and that's a little uncomfy of an image.
Alright, I know why they did it, right?
Because the language is Draconic.
These guys all worked at like Wizards.
Yes, everybody here, as far as I know. At least the two bigs do.
And they worked on 4th edition. And they wanted to make their own 4th edition. But they don't have the rights to D&D or any D&D stuff. So they have to change some of the names.
You know, you'd think...
Lest they incur a cease and desist.
You would think, but I can assure you Dragonborn or Draconic is not in any way protected. Because I know...
I don't know, because I could see... Because, like, it's not whether or not it's protected, it's whether or not someone feels that they could get away with, like, doing a lawsuit.
That's possible.
Sorry, I'm fighting down a burp. Give me a second.
Nice.
Alright, there we go. I muted myself so you can hear it.
Anyway, yes. Dragonic.
Yeah. See,
Dragonic.
I mean, I could see that. Like, I don't think so, just because this is OGL, meaning, like, you know, the term Draconic wouldn't be... Like, it cannot be protected by D&D. Like, D&D has a really weird licensing thing. They have a very small list of terms that they can, like, hit people over. And it's heavily based around what was licensed for OGL. It's a weird short list. Like, you...
I don't know that, Madrona. I guess maybe it's just they thought it sounded...
Possible.
I mean, we all do that. We name our things with whatever actually sounds like a cool idea. So I'm with you there.
On the other hand, we got SMR, which is okay by me.
Nice. So that sounds like a great little thing there. So let's move on. We hit races, and we banished them to the primary use.
Banished them to the dustbin of history.
There's no more races, only species.
Now, unfortunately, we're going to get into another touchy subject, I guess. Classes?
Okay.
The class system.
All right. Anyone who thinks that your race matters over your class is not only objectively wrong by the measure of the game, but class reductionism. It's okay.
Exactly.
Anyway, the classes are pretty much exactly D&D classes.
Yeah.
Right down to how they advance and stuff.
Except they got rid of every good one.
Okay, what's every good one?
No.
Hold up.
Druid.
No, I disagree immediately. Fuck druids.
Okay, they have Bard, but they don't have Druid. I'll be honest, Druid only seems weird here because, like, one of the big icons is the High Druid, and they keep talking about her lesser Druids and player Druids, like, in the intro, and then there's no Druid here, and I'm like, oh, maybe they just made nature clerics. No, they removed the nature spheres for clerics. So I'm like, what?
Okay.
They banished you specifically.
All right.
Yeah.
No. Hold up. There's discourse here. Starting with Madrona, make your argument about druids.
Druid's good.
All right, nice. Vux, Explain your reasoning.
Druid's bad.
Nice. This is a fight that will continue forever.
All right. We could probably come up with some kind of like synthesis of these 2 points, right?
I guess.
I don't like druids because they're just clerics with trees.
I could see that. I think shapeshifting in druids is the stupidest thing ever, and it was introduced and it was a bad idea. We should keep those to shapeshifter druids. That was a freaking like subclass in 2nd edition. Druids are about animal companions and weapon restrictions. Let's keep it to that.
Additional point, white hot take, fucking like burning hot, like molten.
I'm feeling it over
right?
here. Yeah.
Paladins, bad class, dumb idea.
I agree. Druids, best class, best idea.
No, druids also dumb class, dumb idea. Because a druid is just a cleric with nature powers.
Well, I can agree.
A paladin is just a cleric that is also a fighter. So like
except
in
specifically
earlier,
blessed by God.
shut up. You have paladins, right?
Yeah.
All right. So like you have. All right. So you want to be a fighter, right?
Yeah.
You grow up on a farm and it's your dream, and you get trained by like a knight or something, and you become like a fighter,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Cleric. You want to be a priest, so you study the books and you like listen to the priest and you hang out with the priest, and the priest touches you, but it's okay because you grow up to become a priest yourself.
Yeah. It's a little bit of equivalent exchange there. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. You learn to be a cleric. You want to be a rogue, you're a thief, whatever. You become.
If you want to be a druid, you're raised by animals and speak to the trees, and the trees teach you how to kill people.
If you want to be a druid, you follow the fucking cleric path, but with trees instead of a fucking.
If you want to be,
so the
if
trees.
you want to be a paladin, if you want to be a paladin, you have to be both a fighter and a cleric already,
and be blessed by God too, which makes it
and
weird.
Be blessed
You're level
by God
1,
too, which means like it's like. At the start of the campaign, everyone's level 1. Like everybody's like, I'm just starting college. I'm gonna be like a cool fighter one day. This guy walks in. He's already a fucking astrophysicist. He's a fucking doctor. Like he's got fucking titles and degrees, and he's just like slams that shit on the table, and he's like, I can shoot god lasers out of my eyes.
But they're really
it takes
weak
me
right
four
now.
shots to kill takes me 4 shots to kill a rat.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and agree with you, but I think Warlock, while not here, is also a shitty class, because it's also like,
yes,
I have
agreed,
Eldritch patches to blow up the world. Only a little bit.
It's an evil cleric. Just make him a cleric. Just don't... There's no need for this Warlock shit. He's just a cleric.
If you want to be...
But people want to shoot their lasers.
If you want to be a druid, you need to go ahead and pop out of a stump and confront the Onceler and tell them to stop cutting down the trees.
I also want to come out and say that Factotum should just be the only class. We should bring it back, replace all other D&D classes with it, because I'm a smart guy. I do everything else. Everybody's just a lesser version of me being so smart.
Okay, Madrona?
Yes?
I think you have a point here, but I think the point you're coming to it from, like, the wrong direction. Like, I'm a train going down the tracks one way, and you're a train coming down the tracks the other way, right?
But if we hit, we're
both going to the same. We're going to the same place, and if we hit, we can combine and become a more powerful train.
I don't know if that's how trains work.
We got a fusion dance first.
That's what Gurren Lagann taught me.
So wait. So, like, what? Like, you guys are you gonna actually collide head on, or are you in 2 separate tracks and everyone in the train has to reach their hands out to high five the other hands?
Look, every single person in the train has to do the fusion dance. Then it'll work.
And
exactly.
On both trains or with each other?
On both trains.
So
yes.
We have to do manly combining.
Yes. Well, mainly combining is just where you ram the other train.
Well, I know, but there's a lot of people on board, so we have to fusion dance while we're doing it. All
right, everyone on the train has to fusion dance. For you guys have 30 minutes. Yeah, everyone on the train has to fusion dance, eventually becoming one massive fused man before the trains collide or everyone dies.
Yes,
okay,
exactly.
Now I got it. You lost me there for a little bit, and now I'm back on board.
And this is how this works, right?
This is a 13th Age podcast.
Yes. Well, no, it's not a 13th Age podcast. This specific episode is a 13th Age episode.
Anyway.
Because God knows I will probably not be talking about this game again.
What if we do 13th Age Glorantha?
Well, that'll be part of the Glorantha episode.
Good.
Anyway, you hit on some shit that I agree with, but you came at it from the other direction, right? I am of the opinion that the best class system is one where there are the minimum amount of classes possible.
See,
preferably to the point where there are no classes.
If I'm gonna have a class system, I like to have lots of classes, but I like the classes to be decent classes. For instance, Paladin doesn't make sense as a level 1 character, throw it out. Warlock, you've got Eldritch Pact with a demon at level 1. Come on, you should get that at level 5 at least.
No, alright, so let's talk about Warlock for a second, right?
Yes.
Alright, so a Warlock, right? They make a pact with a demon or a devil or something, and they gain some kind of powers from that, right? Or like a fairy, that works too, right?
Yeah.
But the problem with that, right, is that not what a cleric also does?
Is that not what a man is?
No, because clerics aren't about
no,
pacts.
Because clerics make a
No.
Clerics make a pact.
No,
listen, let me finish. Clerics make a pact with their deity because they have to follow the commandments of their deity.
No, because clerics don't necessarily have to do that. Clerics are about a bunch of established rituals and rites and your prayers.
Fuck off, because that's stupid clerics.
No, that's clerics.
I'm talking about.
You're talking about favored souls, which are not clerics, or oracles.
All right,
actually,
favored souls are stupid too. Then, because that should be what a cleric is.
Yeah, but now you're redefining your cleric.
No, because I don't think that a cleric should have access to magic unless their deity's granting.
No, because they got the established traditions and rites. It's wizards got their books and clerics got their prayers.
No, it shouldn't be like that because fucking that's dumb. It's dumb and bad.
I feel it. I feel that.
Vux is just too favored soul here. She's favoring favored soul.
No, because the problem with it is if they can just what if the cleric just decides fuck it, I'm not gonna follow the god rules anymore, not the rules that God set out. I'm just gonna continue using the magic that he can't take away from me.
No, because
that's stupid.
No, because he can take it away from you, because then you'd be violating the traditions and the mores, which require you to be devoted.
Then that's making a pact, but it's making a pact with the fucking church, not with your god.
Exactly.
So
it's church.
It's the same as being a warlock. You're still making a pact with a greater entity to gain power.
No, because warlocks are I render my soul to the dark powers. And clerics
not
are
necessarily, because there are good warlocks, and good warlocks have pacts with fucking
No, there's Phaelocks, which are not good.
No. Listen, because you're too embedded. You're not paying attention because you think you already know the answer, right?
Following.
All right, so Madrona,
yeah.
Get this, right? You're giving your soul to a dark power in order to gain power from them, right? As a warlock.
Yes.
And when you die, that soul is going to be theirs, right?
Depends. Actually,
if you follow a deity and you're a part of a religion, you're a cleric, right? You are likewise promising your soul to this greater entity.
Yes,
when you
I can
die,
see this.
It'll go to them. It's the same thing. A warlock is just a cleric, an evil cleric.
Well, I could see this in certain settings, but usually there's a division in D&D settings.
Oh my god. Every fucking setting is unique. None of these things are generic.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. None of this is generic. Clerics don't even have to worship deities in core D&D.
And that's stupid. I fucking hate that. You can't.
I agree. Greyhawk, bad setting. Greyhawk is bad setting.
If you want to be a fucking magic user without a fucking deity and without a spell book, there's a class for that already. It's called Sorcerer.
You mean Wizard?
No, Wizards have spell books.
Yes.
Oh, without a spell book.
Sorcerers are just cheeky bastards who can cast magic.
Yeah, sorcerers just have
an innate magical ability to do shit whenever they want.
Yeah, they have dragon jizz inside of them.
Nice.
Don't say that, please.
I'm sorry.
Oh my
god. Good.
I never want to hear
Too
that
late.
again.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna roll up the newspaper.
Okay, well, I'm waiting.
I'm recoiling. That was a really brutal smack. Could barely hear it.
I really took you out.
I heard it. I saw that from here. Whisker's on the ground.
It's all
Whisker, are you okay?
I will live.
Okay, you're
A
absolute
warlock.
trooper.
Warlocks are just evil clerics. Barbarian and ranger are fine.
Yeah.
You can. My criteria for a good class is like, can you go from like, is it entry level? Because if it's not entry level, you don't start at level 1. You know, like a paladin is not entry level because you have to learn to be a cleric first, and then you have to learn to be like a fighter.
And you have to be blessed by a deity, which I think is the important thing. You shouldn't be level 1 and be like, I am holy warrior, hand of like lightning and death.
You have to be blessed by a deity critically, so it should be like a prestige class that you get later, not something you start with.
Agreed.
I think it's fine that people want to play like a more powerful thing from the beginning for things like one shots, but if you're gonna do a one shot, don't start at level 1.
Yeah, just play Senzar so you can play like your heavy metal blade lord.
No, listen. If you're gonna play a one shot, just play like a one shot of D&D and start at level like 10 or some shit, because that's where like all the interesting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I think D&D is actually a pretty bad one-shot system because it's so hard to build characters, really.
Yes, it's either the GM does it and everyone is unhappy with their characters, or each player does it and they spend like an hour building a character and then they play it for like 4 hours and then they're done. I mean, the real like secret shit is that don't play D&D, play Warhammer Fantasy Role Playing.
Hey guys.
Actually, no. That's.
I was gonna say that.
Yeah, it's a pain.
This has been a 40-minute ad for Warhammer Fantasy.
Play RuneQuest Glorantha instead. Oh God, is it?
Everyone play GURPS.
Yeah, it has. Damn. Okay. No, don't. All right. Anyone who is listening to this, if anyone is listening to this,
no one's gonna listen to this.
Yeah, nobody's gonna listen to this. But on the off chance that someone happens to stumble across it, in the vast gulfs of time between now and the end of the universe,
beta reticulans shifting through the internet to try to salvage what we were. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Reticulans, I cannot stress this enough. GURPS is fine if you want to play it, but don't use every rule in the book. That way lies madness. What you want to do is just play with what's in the basic set, and then like add in like maybe part of one splat book. Don't do this whole like giant thing, because that's how you go crazy trying to keep track of 100 rules.
God no.
I've played GURPS with people that have tried to include like 5 different splat books, and they're like, it's just a clusterfuck because nobody knows. Like, you have to print your own fucking like instruction booklet for like all the rules that you need, because like it's too much, because it's a kitchen sink system. They put in a little bit of everything, which means that it's just such a fucking like tons of contradictory rules too. It's like the basic set has. All right, this is getting away from me.
This is.
Stop talking about GURPS.
Let's advance to combat. We already did combat. There's nothing much here. It's D&D. There's some neat rules.
It's D&D.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. There's some neat stuff in combat. There's like the fighting in spirit. I like that. This game does a lot of fucking work supporting the GM. Like,
It
there's
does,
a
yes.
massive, thick, chunky session of like how to efficiently run scenarios as the GM. If you're like new to GMing, like the combination of like narrative control that it adds to the players, and like the like GM assistance that it puts in it. Like, for instance, there's a whole like page full of like fuck it rules, or at least what I call fuck it rules. Just like generic like BC difficulties, and like generic like damage rolls for like specific levels of enemy, rather than like specific stat blocks for that kind of enemy, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Like Chapter 6 is probably the best simple DM guide I've ever seen, which is
Yeah. In fact, if you're playing like any D20, like D&D Pathfinder sort of system out there, probably that section of 13th Age is like worth getting on its own.
Yeah, there's neat concepts to it. They're very adaptable, like trying to set up your environments to keep like a narrative pace going. If you want a very pulp adventure, it just helps chunk that out really well with like even divisions for like kind of like a pre-made campaign, just going through a series of sessions with enough like narrative pace and what this point of the narrative adventure should be doing, what should get done per session. It's very solid and very direct.
Yeah, very much in like an A+ set of rules there.
And Anything that helps the GM is outstanding.
Yes, good. Everyone who is GM'd knows how fucking difficult it is.
Actually, even going way back,
Everybody hug your GM.
they do some things that, honestly, I think as a first RPG to try to get people into D&D.
Actually, don't try to hug your GM because you might get them sick.
That's true. Like, we're not supposed to touch people right
Pandemic.
now.
Pandemic, yeah.
Pandemic. Just further dating the shit.
Even
assuming it isn't around for like decades or whatever.
It'll never end.
The beta reticulans are going to be going through ruins in about 20 years. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's fine. Reticulans, hug your GM because you probably are immune to earthly diseases.
Yeah, reticulans, if you're immune to earthly diseases, hug your GM, please. Don't play GURPS with all the rules.
What if? I like how we're going to be adding on rules for beta reticulans the entire time.
We're gonna have to just like write our own fucking like rule book for like how to play RPGs for beta reticulans.
Do we have to describe what a hug is to beta reticulum?
I think they probably. I mean, they're like primates too, right? They have like arms and legs.
Yeah, beta reticulans they have arms and legs. They gotta know what hugs are.
I can accept this, actually.
Incidentally, right? Something I forgot to mention earlier when we were talking about icons, right?
Yeah.
At the start of every session, every character rolls a d6 to test their relationships with the icons. High rolls give you a better chance of like having like a good interaction, and low rolls give you a chance of a bad interaction, and that's your narrative control, right? Basically, like every session, everyone like people get like a bank of like narrative control tokens that they can throw at stuff like. We need to get into this expensive dinner party, but we don't have any money, and also we're peasants, right? So it's like, I rolled really well on my relationship with like the king, so I can like use my royal contacts to get us into this expensive dinner party for free.
Yeah, or alternatively, it's like, well, I rolled really well on my negative reputation with Dark Lord Dude, and I know.
And everyone loves me because I hate Dark Lord Dude.
Yeah, I hate Dark Lord Dude.
Dark Lord Dude is just sitting in his fucking throne, and I'm like, oh, I hate that guy. And everyone's like, haha.
Yes, that's like generic Skeletor is what it is.
Yes, exactly.
Speaking of generic Skeletors, there is a monster section coming up next.
Oh boy, I love the monsters.
Now I
actually really like the art they have.
Really, I was about to say it's nice and it's neat, except that like it doesn't give me any information, and I like pictures. And as somebody who picked up my first D&D book is a monster manual, so I could look at the pretty pictures. This would disappoint me.
Yeah, that's fair. I like them. I like having like actual like pictures of the monsters too, but I also really kind of like the. All right, so this is really weird. The reason why I like this, right? The reason I like these like icons that they have for the monsters, which they don't have like direct depictions of them. They have icons, right? The reason why I like it is because when I was a kid, I was a big fan of Dungeon Keeper, right?
Yeah.
Dungeon Keeper 2 came out, and my computer sucked too much to run it, right? So I would just like look through the manual because I was a loser and I had nothing else to do.
I know that feeling. I did it with Star Siege.
And I would look at all the icons for like all the rooms and the monsters, and like for some reason that memory just sticks in my head clearer than anything else. So whenever I see like a good, like well-designed like monster icon, I'm like, oh yeah, I love that. That represents a thing that's gonna exist soon.
See, I can see that. My biggest criticism, because there's a couple things that are neat about this. So every single icon is set up with one of the icons for the monsters are geared to one of the icons in the book. For instance, the ones with the High Druid alignment look like footprints. The magical beast things have like an outline like the.
Oh my god, you're right.
Yeah, it's actually kind of neat. The only issue I have is that they don't seem particularly coherently put together.
No.
Like some of the ones describe them as being for one, but then the icons clearly not, because I guess they changed midway description. It is, however, a really neat idea, and I kind of like it. Most of the icons I actually like.
Neat idea of bad execution.
Yeah, neat idea of bad execution. Especially the demon ones just look lame because they're like
The
Oh,
demon ones are too detailed as compared to the rest. The rest of them are like an icon or an outline, like a really abstract image of them. But the demon ones are just like a straight up like oil painting.
Yeah, it's like an oil painting of some monster's face on like an icon, and if it was like stuck to the frame, it wouldn't be so bad. But they're popping out of the frame, and I don't like it.
Yeah, that's really weird. The demons are not great, but the honestly, I think the ones that get me the best are like the undead ones, because the undead ones are all like like a cracked slab of slate with like a monster crudely drawn in blood.
No, absolutely, they're really cool.
That's
I really enjoy that.
Those ones are wicked. The dragons are like faded outlines on like a stone. The elven ones are abstract symbols on an egg.
As for the sorry to interrupt. My mouth moves faster than my brain.
It's okay.
You know
Go.
Okay. Basically, I do enjoy that they have made a distinction between like trash enemies and regular enemies. In that trash enemies called mooks in the book, right? They come in swarms, and you deal damage to the whole swarm.
Yeah, that's a 5e thing. I remember those rules pretty well.
5e came after this.
Not 5e, 4e. It's one of the things from 4e that was pretty neat. Saying as somebody who hates 4th edition.
Yeah, I hate 4th edition too, but like it's a good rule because you can have the big impressive fight and not actually have to go around and specifically decapitate every single like goblin.
Now to the most important section of the entire book, gnolls exist. They're in the book. There's no physical description of what they look like, which is kind of an issue, I think, if you're doing this as a first book.
There is a description of what they look like.
Why don't you read it?
It's not a read.
Oh,
I know. There's a really bad image, and it looks kind of
There's
terrible.
a really bad.
Yeah,
image.
let's talk about it. It's a really bad image. It looks like two triangles shoved into each other.
All right, it's the demon like sigil rune thing, but it's got like an oil painting of like a Wolverine, I guess, in the center
With a square face.
with a weird square face and a big fat beard and glowing green eyes, and it looks angry for some reason.
But as
like that's not what a gnoll.
Yeah,
looks
as
like,
we
sorry.
know, gnolls are hyenas. You know what gnolls have or hyenas have? They have like kind of squarish faces, sure, but they have cookies for ears.
That's true. They do have cookies for ears.
Now, if you don't have cookies for ears, you're not a hyena. You're not a gnoll. You're just this lame knockoff,
just
crap wolf.
Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine.
If you don't look like a Boo Boo Bear, I don't want to talk about it.
Exactly. Now, as the gnoll person here, gnoll section's okay.
Wait, hold on.
What?
You said you weren't Joe Biden earlier.
I am not Joe Biden.
Are you going to order your psionic warriors to get rid of that gnoll?
No.
Burn this gnoll underneath the earth.
No. Look, even this gnoll is acceptable almost. This is not, however, 5th edition gnolls. They are not pure demon spawn evil. They're still acceptable gnolls of the pure demon spawn, the pre-demon spawn era. So the gnolls get like a 5 out of 10.
No, friend, I can tell you haven't read the blurb on them. Scrolling back up so that I can like destroy you with facts and logic.
According to some, gnolls ruled the land before the Wizard King established human civilization.
According to others, gnolls were created as pawns of demon lords.
Yes,
okay.
This is ambiguous. It is not. Gnolls are always chaotic evil.
That's true. That's fair. I'll be real with you. I don't like the idea. Like, all right, so if you want to have like demons, right? Demon spawn.
They should be demons.
Creatures that are always evil. They should be demons and not just a race that it just like exists in the world, or a species that just exists in the world and like has like civilization. Like the demons should be like some sort of like weird fucking aberrant bullshit that just kind of like appears in the land and fucks shit up for a while and then leaves again.
Admittedly, in the icon section, they specify gnolls are not all evil, so that's okay. I'm okay with this. This is my gnolls section finished. It's all that's important.
All right, we know that the gnolls are not evil. That is the most important part.
It is. I agree.
All right, so
skipping out of monsters, which honestly we kind of covered everything here in monsters. there's a bunch of monsters. They're mostly
all right. I wanna be charitable to this, right?
what?
The powers to avoid section, right? In the monsters.
Oh, that's
Ooh.
pretty handy. Yes.
That's good because there are so many. All right, so there are so many times when I've played like a D&D thing, and they just like make up a monster, they add a power to another monster to make it more powerful, but it turns out that power sucks. All right, so this warns you not to give enemies like defensive abilities, right? Because if like all of the enemies are just whiffing every attack you make, it sucks.
Yeah, Drow are the worst designed. As like I forget which designer said. I actually think it was Rob Hines there. Drow were the worst designed monster to ever fight in D&D. Because you fight them in the darkness, you have 50% miss chance, and they have 50% magic resistance, so you have a 50% magic whiff chance. And on top of that, they have no hit points, so if you ever hit them, they just explode, so they're never fun.
They also tell you to be very careful about like making sure that your enemies that do have defensive powers have a glaring weakness to exploit. Very important.
It is absolutely good.
Okay, that's all I wanted to say.
The next section's on the actual setting, which I'll be honest, I'm not that engaged with.
I'm not into the setting very much either.
It reminds me of why I would like to play something like the World of Zine or a Wizardry or like Might and Magic 7 setting in RPG format, these very pulp, cheesy computer RPG things of the 90s, but without weird sci-fi elements stuffed in. And I like weird sci-fi elements stuffed into my cheeseball fantasy.
I kind of like that too. I got really enthusiastic when I was reading a bit of Pathfinder. It had mentioned tech as a part of its item pool and stuff like that, like key cards and stuff. And I always thought that was a neat idea.
I'm probably weird there.
Speaking of like weird sci-fi elements, right? I don't know if you noticed, but the first thing I saw when I looked at the world map for this game, which is pretty generic, it's like, you know, you've got like different like little kingdoms owned by the various different little factions, right?
Yeah.
But like the main thing that I noticed, right, way up in the north, is a mountain called Starport.
Holy crap, there is.
That immediately, I was like, what the fuck? And of course, they put a little like note next to it to tell you what page it's on, right?
Yeah.
So it's on page 279, which I am scrolling to right now because I'm going to read you the entire entry for Starport.
So do we get UFO dragons?
Disappointed as I am.
Dragons piloting UFOs?
Starport. Starport reaches all the way up to the overworld. Stars dock there for rest and refitting. Details available on site. What does that mean?
You know what? Okay, I'm just gonna say it now. Even if this setting on the map has a place named after Torrens Passage, there is nothing else of value here. I'm done with the set.
Details available on site. What site?
Not even a link. Details available on site.
What does
Could you imagine? Hold up.
The stars dock there to refit? Hold on, that bears a little bit more explanation than you've given us. This is 2 sentences, buddy. This is the first I'm hearing of that.
Hold up. So, like, what's really fucking me up about this is that the only thing that could make this even better is if it was like the word site was hyperlinked and this is a book. Like this.
That would be better because then I'd know what the fuck they mean. But they don't explain anything here. Hold on. It's fucking me up.
I'm looking it up right now.
Well,
it's on page 279.
No, I know that. I'm looking at it. You motherfucker.
I like how you're as frustrated with it as I am. Because that sounds like some cool shit. I want to know. I even looked at the...
Can we fly site? Can we fly stars? That's what I want to know.
Well, I don't know. Because they don't tell us. Like, I even looked at the entry for the overworld, and it's like, that's cool, I guess, because it's like, in this world, like, clouds are solid, and you can build stuff on top of them. Cool. So, like, you know, like, creatures fly around up there, and there's, like, floating castles and islands and cities and stuff. And that's all cool shit. I'm down, 100%, right? That's what the overworld is. It's like, it's literally up in the sky, people can just live there.
All right, so...
But, like, Starport...
Okay, hold up. So I want you to be aware of something. All right. So I went ahead and actually looked this up. I deep dug while that was like fucking me up. So
Okay.
what it is that so Starport is I desperately try to figure out what Starport is. Cannot find it. However, right, there is a module, right, called 13th Age Race to Starport, right? Here's the tagline: The Dragon Empire faces a terrifying threat from the skies in this free any award-winning 13th Age adventure by Ash Law, right? This is so evidently this is a cosmic horror session.
Oh,
Okay.
6 2-hour sessions, 12-hour long runtime for characters level 1 to 4. You can just download it. It's free. And the monster preview involves star things, deviant, malevolent, octopus-like flying monsters from a dimension where space obeys different geometry. No one understands their language, but everyone can understand their squeals of glee when they kill and feed.
oh, good.
So that could be good.
So
Okay.
those live on Starport,
Oh,
I guess.
So Starport. Wait, does this mean stars or eldritch beings here? Because I'm okay with that.
Sounds
I-
pretty good.
I guess so. If that's true, then that's rad, and I haven't given this game enough
That
credit.
is rad. It doesn't quite equal dragons piloting UFOs.
Not quite there.
But I'm okay with this.
No, but that would be cool though. Also, there's like an underworld, which is basically the underworld from Warhammer Fantasy, except worse. No, that's
Except for
but
words.
it's basically the Underdark
Okay, yeah.
from D&D. It's cool. It's
So
fine.
as far as I can tell,
Uh,
I don't know anything else about Starport.
Yeah, that's like, I'm doing the fucking shaking eyes emoji on that one, but there's just nothing to find.
Well, I mean, I guess if I for some reason ran it in this instead of Antharia, so I can have the Cult of Ba instead of these lame icons. Well, I mean, you can have your spaceship stars, I guess.
All right, are they full of evil?
I'm not sure. They could be. You get what you bring with you.
Oh my god.
Okay, so I went ahead and a little bit more digging about this. Evidently, is this Eberron as well? Hold up a second. Yeah, so Forgotten Realms, there's a mountain called Stardock.
Yes, because spaceships dock there.
Okay, so maybe this is the same
Yes.
shit.
Well,
I don't, because they specify that stars dock
Oh,
in
that's
this.
weird.
yeah. See,
Um,
Forgotten Realms has spelljammers.
like- in Forgotten Realms, like they just have spaceships, so like they dock there. They know what spaceships are, right? But like in this, it specifies that stars do it, and like they don't say that they have spaceships or that they know what spaceships are.
Okay. So I found a little bit of information on stars.
Okay.
A long time ago, in a past age, an archmage gathered up the worst of the living dungeons and the most precocious of monsters. Nope, I'm like Pernicious. Yeah, thank you. Of monsters, and hurled them deep into the cosmos to prevent his enemies from using exiled monsters against the Dragon Empire. That archage erased almost all memory of what had happened, because that always works. In the astral void, the living dungeons found each other, merging and growing together until they formed a small moon. The monsters of the living dungeons battled each other and interbred. After long, strange eons had passed, what was left was the Star Mask race. Now, the current age of the dungeon moon has returned. It wanders across the sky like a comet, turning this way and that and shedding meteorites that rain down on the Dragon Empire. From the meteorites crawl the Star Mask. Huh.
Wait,
Oh, so stars are eldritch
Yep.
abominations. I'm down 100%. That's way cooler.
Okay,
than I
so
ever thought it would be.
that is the only good thing in this setting. I'm okay with
I
it.
like how we latched onto this two sentence bullshit description of something called
Well-
Starport, and then we just ate it up.
Well, listen, right? Because every other thing has like they just unhinge their jaw and start like erupting about like the town of Drunk Findlay.
Yeah, it's like
And then it's like And then it's just like Starport. The Starport is a mountain that reaches all the way up into the sky. Stars dock there, whatever. And then it's just like, what the? No, you need to explain that.
Can you run that by me one more time, idiot?
Just take some of the other sections for like example. Wake Island. I mean, there's islands, but they're the wakes. There's wake there. There's a big monster that makes the wake. The end. Okay. Wild Wood. It's a bunch of trees, and the druid lives there.
No, it's like the other places have mysteries, but the mysteries are all like mundane as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, oh, a giant monster is doing it, right? But this is just like,
yeah, exactly.
No, we look up and we see those all the time. Those are stars. We know what they do. What the fuck?
You know what they don't do? Dock and refuel.
Yeah, they don't have stars that dock and refuel.
Well, this is an exciting deep delve.
That was good. That was way better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, this is okay. There's 2 more chapters. They're just magic items and an adventure.
Yeah, I'm not.
There's nothing to talk about.
It's an adventure.
Yeah, it's an adventure.
I'm sure that the adventure is fine because these guys seem to know a whole lot about making a good adventure happen.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm sure it's fine. I didn't look.
I'm not particularly fussed about adventures because I always make up my own anyway. All right, you know what? We've reached the end of the book.
We've reached the end of the book.
That was 322 pages of book, of text, of adventure, condensed down in 1 hour.
We literally just skimmed it and made fun of things that we thought were funny, which is, I guess, what it was our mission statement to begin with. So.
I guess so.
On everyone.
What else was the plan? I don't think we had it.
Oh, I mean, there's an index.
We have the rest of the plan.
This book has an index.
We have a little bit more to finish.
Exciting.
All right, so closing thoughts about the book first of all.
Who wants to go first?
Nice. I'll go first. I really like it. It's like 4th edition, only it has like a human designed it instead of like a computer. It's not an MMO. It has a lot of narrative control. I like narrative control. The combat takes forever. I've played it. It's not great. But that's common to all D20 systems. D20 systems are really easy to get into, but I hate the combat. I don't like D20 for reasons of like probability, right? Single die systems like drive me fucking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, basically 13th Age is really good, especially if you're just starting out. That's what I think about it.
I think my general thing is I think this is probably it's not the worst D&D like. It's not, in my mind, the best D&D like. Me personally, I'm probably biased to 3.5 or Pathfinder because I like absurd crunch and the tons of class options. And this just doesn't sell that to me. It's definitely a step up from 4th edition and 4th edition's general MMO-ness. And while it's a harder game to learn than 5th edition for sure, and it has more of that front-loaded power, you're trying to go ahead and make an entry-level D&D-esque thing, is probably going to teach you more as a GM and as a player than 5th edition would. It goes out of its ways to try to tell the GM methods of communication, how to communicate and interact as a player. It, for instance, mentions you probably should tell a GM kind of what your intent is for an action, which is something a lot of players don't seem to get. They're like, do I see something? Instead of, do I see X? I want to do X. And both, simple things like that could speed up a session, make a session feel more dynamic and interesting, help basically the flow of the game. It's a solid RPG. It works.
I like that. Makes perfect sense. I really enjoyed 13th Age when we played it, mainly because, unlike a lot of other tabletop sessions, the important thing to know about me is that I've got a square brain that's easily stacked and is polished, smooth like a marble. So when anyone discusses rules or anything like that in a setting, I usually say, so I'm playing a fighter, because I don't want to have to think about any of that. 13th Age, right, as far as I can tell, is just okay, I'm playing a fighter, but the entire game is like that, which is excellent. That's fantastic. A+, couldn't be any better. The combat does take a long while, right? Especially if you don't have a whole lot to do about it. But otherwise, fun setting, fun system. And it says several times in the book that they want you to reimagine and interpret and use it as you care to, basically, which is outstanding. Which means that the 13th Age system is built to be whatever setting you decide to use, whether it's an extension on the already established map or your own setting, which is good. I like flexibility as a GM.
Okay, cool. The last thing that I wanted to do, right, is I know that each of us has our own little projects that we're working on. So I wanted everybody to talk about their little project a little bit. So who wants to go first?
Hi, I'm Madrona. I've been working on a really trash bag, like D% roll under using D20 hack, which is very trash. It's going. There's honestly not
And it's your personal setting.
It is my personal setting that I have worked on off and on for way too long, like, God, 20, 23 years or something. Yeah, 5 years ago. I'm old.
And what's it called?
It does not have a name.
Okay.
Names are...
Well, you're going to have to name it at some point.
Some point I'll have to go ahead and make a name.
How's it coming?
It's going pretty well. I think the rules are actually functional. It's mostly writing things down and organizing. Everything should be all right. I'm going to run tests there.
Ooh.
Rat.
Me? Hello,
Yes.
I am a salty rat, and I've been developing a handful of homebrew games for a while. Namely, the big three right now are Underfoot, Ravage Science, and Titanic. These systems don't use traditional dice rules, or more pool oriented, and involve odd settings as well. Underfoot being the things that happen underfoot. So small creatures and church mice and such. Titanic, super soldiers the side of buildings. And Ravage Science, where the player characters are virtually what are they? Indestructible or invulnerable, immortal, which is a bit of an odd, interesting thing. I also stream, and that's it.
Okay. Well, I'm Bucks, as you probably know by now. And I work on I am currently working on an RPG, 2D10 rollover RPG with the working title of Aeon, and it's about piloting a giant cyborg and being traumatized, and that's all.
Nice.
Okay, we're done. We did it.
Congratulations, everyone. You made it through another episode.
Happy birthday!
Nice.
Happy birthday.
Woo!
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday!
Sorry, it's
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
I
Shinji!
said Shinji, but congratulations ship is very good too.
Fuck, we could have named it that. We didn't. We could have. We don't need to call it YGMV.
We can call it congratulations.
I don't think we're ready for that.
Congratulations, Chip's pretty good. I don't think the world is ready for that.
The world is not ready.
No. Okay, so I guess we should stop this guy recording.
Hey, Craig.
We probably should.
Craig.